Psychology says the things you judge yourself for might actually be signs of a highly intelligent brain, and that idea alone can feel uncomfortable because you have spent years assuming something was wrong with you for overthinking, for needing alone time, for feeling emotionally drained by people, and for sensing things others seem to miss. Most people label these traits as weakness or sensitivity, or even failure. But psychology does not see them that way. Research shows your brain may simply be operating at a deeper level, processing more information, more meaning, and more emotional data than average. And in the next few minutes, you are going to hear psychology facts about human behavior that explain why your mind works the way it does. And by the end of this video, you may realize something important: you were never broken, you were just misunderstood. Psychology has long studied why certain people experience life more intensely, and what it consistently finds is that many so-called undesirable behaviors are actually adaptive responses from highly aware brains. Your habits, your reactions, and your exhaustion often make sense when you understand how your brain is wired and why it prioritizes depth, safety, and meaning over speed, noise, and surface-level comfort. One of the most misunderstood human behaviors is overthinking, and psychology says overthinking is rarely about weakness. It is about prediction. Your brain constantly runs simulations to prevent mistakes, social rejection, or emotional harm. Research on anticipatory cognition shows that some brains naturally scan for future outcomes, especially in people who are self-aware, empathetic, or intellectually curious. When you replay conversations or analyze situations, your mind is not trying to torture you, it is trying to learn, refine, and protect you. This is why overthinkers are often good problem solvers, because their brains see patterns others overlook. The downside is mental fatigue, not because you are broken, but because your brain never switches to autopilot. And when people tell you to just stop thinking, they misunderstand that thinking deeply is not a habit for you, it is your default operating system. Another psychology fact about human behavior is that needing alone time is not antisocial, it is neurological. Studies on introversion and arousal theory show that some brains become overstimulated faster during social interaction. Your nervous system absorbs tone, facial expressions, micro-reactions, and emotional undercurrents all at once, which uses significant mental energy. This is why you may enjoy people, but still feel exhausted afterward. Alone time allows your brain to reset, regulate emotions, and return to baseline. Research on the default mode network shows that solitude actually helps your brain organize thoughts, process experiences, and restore clarity. So when you pull away, it is not rejection, it is recovery. And psychology says people who understand this about themselves often have better long-term emotional health. Feeling emotionally drained by people is another behavior often misunderstood. Psychology explains this through empathy and emotional regulation. When you are emotionally attuned, your brain mirrors the feelings of others through mechanisms like mirror neurons, which means you are not just listening, you are internally experiencing their emotional state. This makes you compassionate, insightful, and deeply understanding. But it also means social environments can feel heavy, especially when emotions are unspoken or unresolved. Research shows that emotionally intelligent people often feel tired, not because they lack strength, but because they carry more emotional information at once. And if you have ever wondered why you feel tired even after doing nothing, social psychology says it is because your brain was doing invisible work. Another powerful psychology fact is that quiet people are often highly self-aware. Silence is not emptiness, it is internal processing. Research on inhibitory control shows that some individuals naturally pause to evaluate their thoughts before speaking. This leads to fewer words, but more precision. You think before you speak, not because you are unsure, but because you care about accuracy, meaning, and impact. In a world that rewards speed, this can make you feel behind. But psychology says thoughtful processing is linked to emotional maturity and deeper understanding. And if you have ever felt invisible because you are not loud, it does not mean you lack presence, it means your presence is subtle and depth-driven. Psychology also explains why many deep thinkers feel misunderstood even when they explain themselves. Cognitive complexity plays a role here. Your inner world contains layered thoughts, emotions, and connections that are difficult to compress into simple language. When you speak, others may only grasp a surface version of what you mean, which creates a sense of being unseen. Research shows that people with complex thinking styles often struggle to feel understood, not because they communicate poorly, but because their internal experience is richer than most conversations allow. This is why you may crave deep, meaningful discussions and feel disconnected during small talk. It is not arrogance, it is a difference in cognitive depth. When you look at these behaviors together, overthinking, needing alone time, emotional exhaustion, silence, and feeling misunderstood. A clear pattern emerges. Psychology does not label these traits as flaws, they are signs of awareness, sensitivity, and intelligence. Your brain prioritizes meaning, safety, and understanding over noise and speed, and while this can feel isolating in a fast-paced world, it also gives you insight, empathy, and depth that many people never develop. You are not meant to fit everywhere, you are meant to understand deeply where you do fit. If this video helped you see yourself differently, take a moment to acknowledge that understanding your mind is not about fixing it, it is about respecting how it works. And if you want more psychology facts about human behavior that explain the parts of you others never understood, stay here. Because this channel exists to remind you that depth is not a defect, it is a strength.